What's up, everybody? Adam here. Adam and Crediberry. Berry Smooth. The Berry. Oh my. Welcome to Laugh with Incrediberry. Look, I live in Alabama and I love my home. It can be hard to do sometimes, I will admit, but I can't help it. I love Alabama. I love my home. It's home. As Randy Owen famously sang, my home is in Alabama. No matter where I lay my head. But Alabama's also a welfare state. I mean, we might talk a big game about keeping the federal government out and pull yourself up by the bootstraps and nobody deserves a handout, but it never fails. We end up with our hand out every time. We bitch about people living off the government when we do the same thing. We gripe about people using welfare money to buy things they don't need, like lobsters and steak and iPhones and vacations. But we just overlook the fact that Alabama receives $1.80 from the federal government for every $1 that we put in. Which brings us to the conundrum we are facing now. Like, what are we? What is Alabama? Are we pro-life? Are we pro-life, helping our fellow man, helping our fellow citizen, looking out for the downtrodden to help those less fortunate, like Jesus said to do? I mean, we say we're Christian here. We're pretty adamant about it. So are we what we say we are? Or are we just welfare queens looking for any way to own the libs? The state of Alabama recently received an unexpected surprise, a surplus in the Education Trust Fund to the tune of a whopping $2.7 billion. And this was unexpected and unusual. I mean, it wasn't like we did anything right to get it. This came from the federal government. We didn't do anything right to get that money, and we damn sure ain't gonna do anything right with that money now that we got it. I have said over and over again, like that Nelly and Tim McGraw duet, that Alabama just refuses to expand Medicaid. The state's given up billions in federal money by just refusing to do so. It's let rural hospitals and rural healthcare providers and health services just suffer and close its doors, further hurting the citizens of these small towns that depend on these things. We might not ever know how many Alabamians went bankrupt or how many died. But every time it's brought up to Governor Kay Ivey, she just throws her hands up. Like, where's the matching money? Like the old Wendy's commercial. Where's the beef? Like, we're asking her to turn water into wine or pull a rabbit out of a hat or some other sleight of hand southern magic trick. But here's the thing. It's been reported that expanding Medicaid will cost the state around $225 million a year. That's what? A 12th of that $2.7 billion. So $2.7 billion surprise dollars, a 12th of it. Less than 10% will go towards helping our most impoverished citizens, the ones stuck in that healthcare coverage gap, the ones who make too much money to qualify for Medicaid and too little for private insurance. And that's not even taking into account that whatever match the state would have to pay in dollars according, with the federal money, that's not even taking into account that it will quickly recapture in taxes from the hospitals and other healthcare providers that will provide services. I mean, the Public Affairs Research Council of Alabama has estimated and reported that expansion could actually save the state $400 million a year. And we say, no. How do we as a state look at a sure thing and go, nah, bro? How do we call ourselves pro-life, Christian people taking care of the common man when we won't even take this sure thing? Well, of course, when the federal government's involved, that's how we say, nah, bro. We'd rather let people struggle, starve, go bankrupt, or die rather than accept money from the feds that has to be used on things we say we support. But an unexpected surplus, we will gladly stick our hand out for that. Just don't call it a handout, because we don't do handouts around here. We could fully bail out Birmingham Southern College. It's a small private college in Birmingham that's been open for over 100 years and might now have to close its doors because of money issues. I mean, they've asked the state for help. They asked for $30 million, which sounds like a lot, but it's chump change when you're talking about $2.7 billion in unexpected federal money. But that's a private school, and the governor's office has let it be known that taxpayers' money will not be used on a private college. But I mean, even though right now there are a lot of Republicans in Alabama who are pushing for private school vouchers, which is taxpayer money going towards private schools. At least if we saved Birmingham Southern, we could say that the money was used for something educational. Expanding Medicaid, I don't guess, could be counted as educational. Although if you're extremely unhealthy or sick or dead, I'm thinking it will be hard to learn shit. So, what are some of the things the state of Alabama has decided to spend this money on? This unexpected money that is in the Education Trust Fund. Well, they have decided that there's over $300 million of that money that will go to non-education things. Although some of those things, they've tried to twist it and fit this square peg into an educational circle peg hole. It's weird. They've tried to do that with some of these things. Some of the other things, they're like, this is what we want to do. We're doing it. The haters, the naysayers, and anybody trying to keep us down. Kate Ivey's proposed $200 million for the Main Street Alabama program, which helps small towns revitalize their downtown districts. Hey, the schools might not have everything they need, and the residents might not have any real healthcare provider real close, but at least the sidewalks are pretty and the street lamps are working. Maybe they got a fountain in the town square. Everybody loves a nice water feature. There's $31 million for the Mobile Airport to shuffle facilities terminal relocation. I have no idea what that has to do with education. I no clue whatsoever. There's $25 million for the Port of Alabama to upgrade its coal loading facilities so private coal companies in Alabama can ship their product there. What in the world does coal have to do with education? I mean, I guess if they upgrade it, everybody's going to have to learn how to do the new thing. So maybe that's how they're justifying using school money for coal. There's $10 million for the Alabama Department of Commerce to buy private companies' land to develop. Once again, I have no idea how that is using education money, how that is justified. I mean, I don't think the Department of Commerce and the Department of Education are interchangeable. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. There's $5 million for the World Games that happened last year in Birmingham. It went over budget, and the World Games CEO already said that he'd get that money from private sources, but I guess in this case, private sources means the state's education fund. Maybe that's educational if we teach kids not to go over budget. I'm not sure. I mean, we don't even teach kids about taxes or balancing a checkbook or anything, but we always say, with the problem with these kids, they don't know how to write cursive anymore. Then there are two remaining items that the money is being used for that is laughable at best and illegal at worst, since it's coming from the education fund. But nobody knows if this is legal. Not a single person. Coal loading machines, the airport terminal. How can school money be used for those? At least if you use the money to expand Medicaid, that will be a valiant effort to better citizens' lives. But those other things, nobody's sure if it's legal. Because every dollar that goes into the Education Trust Fund is designated for education, either by statute or by the Alabama Constitution. And Kay Ivey's office has been asked by the media and by several other lawmakers, hey, are these expenditures legal? And Ivey's office has just gone dead silent. Radio silence, just silent. Just ignore them and do it anyway. These last two things, you're going to have to do a lot of ignoring to make the questions go away. $100 million. Let me say that a little bit slower. $100 million of U.S. currency will be used for prison construction. I mean, they tried to use COVID money. Now they're trying to use school money for prisons. Not only are they wanting to use school money for prisons, they're channeling it through the state's community college system. So when you look on the expenditure list, when it says community college system, it means a prison. I have no idea when the last time a community college built a prison. It seems like it'd been less trouble giving that money just directly to the damn prison system. And, of course, the cream of the crop. The what the fuck moment at the top of the mountain. The water park. $25 million will go to the Montgomery Whitewater Rafting Park. The proposal has the money going to the Montgomery County Commission, I guess because putting Whitewater Park in the budget might have given the whole game away. $25 million. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the project has ran behind schedule and over budget. $25 million over budget, to be exact. What's educational about a whitewater rafting park? See who can stay in the raft the longest. See who can hold their breath the longest. See does the water turn green when you pee in it? When asked about that, a state representative said, well, there will be partnerships with local schools. I got you. Then it all makes sense. Or does it? I mean, when the state of Alabama ranks damn near the bottom all the time in education rankings, we are putting education money into a public whitewater rafting park. So no, it doesn't make sense at all. We are in an unusual situation. We have an unexpected surplus, a nice surprise. A chance to show the country that Alabama isn't the Alabama it's always been. The one you've heard about, the Alabama that's the butt of all jokes, the stereotype. We could turn the tables. We could start a nice redemption story, work towards what we proclaim to be. Good people, good Christians, pro-life, taking care of our neighbors. We could take a fraction of that money and expand Medicaid, allowing almost 300,000 citizens to have access to health care coverage, allowing rural hospitals and rural health care providers and rural health care services to remain open to serve those who need them. But no, we can't do that. That'd be admitting, we said to the federal government, okay, that'd be giving in. Plus, this money's from the education fund, and nothing's education while people want handouts to stay healthy. They should better their lives on their own. That's what Alabama Jesus said to do. We could save a college from closing its doors. No, that's a private school. And yes, education money, but that's a private school. So we'll take that money and pay for things like airport terminals and coal loading operations and economic walk opportunities and sidewalks down Main Street and prisons and a water park. Because while we might say all the right things, we never do all the right things. We get a check from the government for way more money than anybody was expecting. We could use that to help people. We could use it to pay for things we need, but will we? Nah. We're going to buy steak and lobster with it. We're going to go on vacation with it. Take pictures on the vacation with our brand new iPhone. We're going to pay for things that we don't need while ignoring the things that we do need. Our fridge quit working the car is making a weird noise and our kids need to go to the doctor. But, well, we're just going to give them some Tylenol, a room temperature drink, and pray the car doesn't break down on the way to the water park. Because Alabama is a welfare queen.